Good morning. How are you diddling? Excellent. Me too. Thank you very much for asking. Welcome to Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Dazed, Confused and Generally Buggered, my daily live video chatting to you about social media, about video, and trying to get you on that content creation journey. So you're making content for your brand, for your business, and getting your name out there just a little bit further than you possibly have been doing of recent times, shall we say. Obviously, we're in a very interesting situation at the moment. We're in this lockdown situation. We're all sat either twiddling our thumbs or doing things a little bit haphazard. So that's what this broadcast is all about, to try and answer your questions, help you get a bit of structure to your social media, and help you understand how you can do a lot of stuff yourself for free. Because for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Simon Scholes. I am the founder and creative director of this bad boy right here, Perception Studios, and we're an award-winning visual marketing agency. We're based in the UK and we help brands and businesses create content that really helps them stand out on their social media, be it video, animation, aerial work, photography, all that kind of stuff. And we try and get a little bit more creative rather than just creating something standard and book standard. We need to make stuff that's completely eye-catching and bespoke to your brand. So that's what we try and do. But also a few years ago, it became quite obvious to me that a lot of people were not able to necessarily afford or in the position to have that content created for them. But social media being such a powerful tool for a brand and for a business, I wanted to try and help as many people as possible start getting on that content creation journey, start creating stuff that they can do themselves for free. We've all got a mobile phone in our back pocket. This one right here is currently streaming on Instagram Live. We all have the ability to use one of these and post on lots of different free social media sites. Free being the operative word there. So why would you not make good use of those sites to try and increase the visibility of your brand, put some value out there and build an audience? So that's why I came up with the How to 9 Times Your Social Media process, which helps brands and businesses understand what they can do for free, that favorite 4-letter word. I want you to start creating content. I want you to start blogging. I want you to start doing photographs. I want you to start doing videos. I want you to start doing short form videos. I want you to start podcasting. There's so much you can do yourself that won't cost you a penny, and that's what most of my videos are about, is answering your questions on those, but also trying to help you get into that content creation mindset and start doing stuff yourself. So every single day we're talking about a different subject matter, also trying to answer your questions as well. Today's subject matter is how to get more engagement on your content. It's an interesting one today because there's lots of different rules and things you could do to try and increase engagement on your content. If you do have any questions at all, no matter what platform you're watching on, be it Twitch, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram Live as well. Hello to Design Donut who's just joined us. Please do drop us a question on the platform that you're watching on, and I'll do my best to answer as many of them as I possibly can do once I finish chatting about how to increase your engagement. So shall we get started? I think that's probably the best idea before the wee man wakes up. My little man is he's gone to sleep slightly later than usual, hence the slight tardiness of today's broadcast. Anyway, right. Content. How to get more engagement. This is an interesting subject, and a lot of people ask me about this, to be fair, because they see engagement either drop off or they create content and they're not getting the engagement that they'd really like on that engagement, even though they think it's really good. And so there are a few things that you can do to try and increase engagement. The first thing really is actually ask in the first place. Ask people to engage with your content, because human beings are, well, we're lazy. Let's be honest about it. We are the laziest on the planet, I would say, and we need things spoon feeding to us as well. So if you want to create content that you want people to engage with, then you need to give them an opportunity to engage with it, but also remind them of the fact that you want them to engage with it as well. So like at the end of your videos or at the start of your videos, try and get people to subscribe to your video on YouTube. Or if you are creating content on Instagram, don't forget to ask people to follow your channel on Instagram or on Twitter, or ask for retweets or ask for comments. Basically, ask for the engagement in the first place, but you've got to give people a reason to engage with your content as well. You can't just expect them to do so. So are you giving enough value? That kind of stuff. Is your content completely value driven? Because if it isn't, if all you're trying to do is sell or talk about yourself all the time, then there's a very, very high chance that the person who you're hoping to engage with has probably disengaged and gone somewhere else where they're talking about the product and giving people value rather than going, hey, we're so awesome. Our Dazed, Confused and Generally Buggered mugs are better than everybody else's, and you should be buying our mugs because they're the best, rather than going, so a mug, it's a great way of keeping your coffee hotter. So this is a problem everybody has, is that the coffee goes cold far too quickly. So with our mugs, what we've done is we've painted them black on the inside to try and absorb the heat and keep the heat inside them. You know, simple things like that, just thinking outside the box a little bit for your brand. You're still talking about mugs, but you're giving some value back to the audience who are watching your content. So just think about what value can you give them a reason to want to comment on your content. Maybe open the platform to some questions, open the platform to a bit of a debate, perhaps. What kind of things could people debate with you on your content? But like I say, talk about the topic at hand, not about your brand. Don't talk about the products that you sell. Talk about the topic. What is it that's a value that you're talking about that's connected to your brand? You can still connect it to your brand, but talk about the value. Don't talk about your brand. Don't talk about yourself. There's nothing more boring than meeting somebody new at a party and all they do is talk about themselves. It's very, very dull. I was on a webinar the other day, actually, which was all about sales, and they were talking about what is it that turns a person on, what is it that gets them like interested, and they took it back to dating. And when a person talks about themselves when you're on a first date, bit off-putting, really, isn't it? A little bit boring. Now, if somebody asks you the question to talk about yourself, fine, but then also you're hoping they're going to open their ears and listen to you as well. But talking about yourself is just, it's not the way forward. So talk about the topic at hand. Join in other people's content as well. So other people in your field, in your area of expertise, there will be people who are also creating content in that area of expertise, who will have Q&A sessions. Join in, ask questions, maybe give some answers, give your viewpoint. Join in with other people's content. And it doesn't have to just be in your area of expertise, maybe other people as well, who might be your potential customers, but you don't really know that. You just want to go and dive in and learn something new on other people's content. Don't forget as well, social media is about being social. So commenting on other people's content is important, but sharing other people's content as well. This goes back into what I call the rule of a third, which I've spoken about in the past, where you need to do a third of talking about your own content, so giving out your own value, what it is that you can offer to people in your area of expertise as a voice of authority, and what it is that you do. Then you need to share other people's content in your area of expertise. If somebody's written about something and you weren't necessarily going to write about it, but you agree and you think it's a really good piece of content, share it out with your audience. You're building a relationship with that person instantly. Then they might retweet the fact that you've tweeted out the fact that they've written this piece of content. So therefore you start having your content seen by a whole new audience. And you've got this potential of opening up lines of communication with new people, because that's what we all want. We want that engagement, that level of higher engagement, more likes, more shares, more comments. But we need an audience who give a shit about what it is that we've got to say in the first place. Otherwise, nobody's going to like and share and comment, because it's a dead audience. That's why I completely go against the grain with people and like, just don't do follow for follow. Don't do sub for sub. Don't do like for like. It's a load of bollocks. It's a dead number. Nobody will come then back and consume your content. Just because somebody subscribed to you because you subscribe to them does not mean that they are automatically then going to come and watch more of your content. Having 1 million subscribers does not make you an influencer because you've only got 3 people watching your content. I'd much rather have 100 people follow me and have 80% of those actually consuming my content and interacting with it and giving a damn about stuff. Good morning to Honey the Cheagle, who is watching at the moment on Periscope, and also Ed also saying I'd rather have 100 active and loyal followers and 10,000 followers that do bugger all. Exactly. There's no point in having dead followerships. Just absolutely no point whatsoever. So make sure you're building an audience who are going to engage with your content, who actually give a damn about what it is that you're going to say. But how do you get them in? Well, like I say, you start being more social, you join in on other people's content, you share other people's content, you use relevant hashtags as well. So if you've got hashtags that you can use in your industry, start using them, create polls. These are brand new as well on LinkedIn. They've just started putting LinkedIn polls out. So you can do polls on Instagram stories, you can do polls on Facebook and Facebook groups and pages. So get polls out there, get people to interact with the content, make it easy for them. We are humans and we are lazy. We need it all making easy for us. So make it easy for them to actually engage with the content. And post frequently as well, at times when you know your audience are going to be on, so that you're definitely going to get that interaction. But like I said, don't forget to ask them for engagement. And it also depends on what kind of engagement you're looking for as well. So if you've got a product, people aren't going to say, oh, this product's brilliant, unless they've used it. So don't forget to be sensible in asking for the right type of review. So if it is a review you're looking for on your product, then make your content directed at those people who've already bought from you in the first place. I'm not saying put money behind it so it only hits them, but actually write it so that those people are more likely to interact with it than anybody else. Because somebody else might just go, well, I've never bought one of their Dazed Confused mugs. I have no idea if they're any good. But Bob, who also will see it, might go, yeah, well, I've used one of their Dazed and Confused mugs, and they are brilliant. So I'm going to leave a little note and say that they are. But they won't do that unless you ask them to do that. And to do that, you've got to direct your message at them and not the other person. Also, know your audience, know your avatar. I've said this over and over and over again, and I've kind of been talking about it anyway, but just know who your audience is. Don't build a dead audience. Don't build on follow for follow and sub for sub and all that kind of stuff. And being topical, not a bad thing sometimes, actually being topical, being a little bit outrageous. And I'm not talking about being completely out of the box and being offensive, but having maybe a slightly differing point of view to somebody isn't a bad thing. And you can dive in there and maybe start a debate and engage with people. You don't necessarily have to troll to have a differing point of view. So two very different things. Being a troll is just being a dick for being a dick's state. But having a differing point of view is just diving in there and having a conversation with somebody who's just going, but have you thought about it this way? Or have you thought about it that way? Rather than just coming and going, oh, well, you're just wrong. You're a muppet. Bye-bye. Because that's just going to alienate people. But try and get that engagement up by being active on social media, by being social on social media, by asking for the engagement in the first place. Like right now, I'm going to say to you, don't forget, whatever platform you're watching on, please do either hit the share button or the retweet button or whatever to try and get this content out to a wider audience, and make sure you hit the like button as well, so the algorithms will maybe push it out to more people. That would be absolutely amazing. Thank you very, very much. So yeah, it's as simple as that. All you've got to do is ask the question. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do it, but hopefully they will. You never know. They might. All those people who are watching right now on Twitch and Periscope and YouTube and Facebook and on Instagram Live may well share this piece of content with their audience once it's on replay, or they might hit share right now, or they might be listening on the podcast tonight and hit share instead after the podcast has finished, and maybe leave a review. I don't know, but if I don't ask, I don't get. So don't forget to ask. Always, always ask. And that's how you're going to essentially build up the engagement on your content. Getting active, getting out there, being social, asking people to actually comment in the first place, join in on other people's content. That kind of stuff really counts for a lot in general day-to-day human behavior, let alone on social media. So imagine how powerful it is on social media as well. People love engagement. So if you're aiming to try and get engagement, why would you not engage with other people? It's just baffling that you wouldn't bother to try and do that and reach out to people who maybe need a little bit of help. Anyway, hopefully I've waffled on enough to give you a good idea of what you can do to try and increase the engagement on your content. Let's just have a quick peek on here, see if there's anyone else here on the live. Wow. It's quiet today, actually, on the Instagram Live. Everywhere else, so we've got quite a few people watching this morning, so thank you very much for tuning in. Let's have a look at some of the questions. We've just got a couple of questions this morning. If you do have a question, whatever platform you're watching on, stick it in the comments. I'll do my best to work through them today. Or if you want to, if you're watching on the replay, still put your questions in. We can still go through them. Okay. John, this is a good question, actually, and plays right into my ballpark of expertise, kind of. I used to be an expert at this. Okay, so John is asking, do you have any insight on breaking into the voiceover voice acting industry? I'm running a podcast now, and I get compliments on my voice on a regular basis. How do I maximize my gift and grow that in that industry? Okay, first things first, show reel. Put together a very basic, a very simple show reel so that people can actually see what you're capable of doing. Now, that might mean voicing some adverts, and maybe watching or listening to the radio, jotting down what the actual script is, and maybe remaking that advert just with your own voice. Find content that would suit your voice and remake that advert so that you've got a mini show reel together, because obviously you won't necessarily have people who've already paid for your skill set just yet. So once you've got a show reel, then you've got something to sell yourself. You've got something to show people, or for people to listen to rather than to show people. So how do you get that in front of people? Well, you go online and you search different websites and find local radio stations, local advert producers, local creatives, and get in touch with them and just say, would you mind if I sent you my weekly availability? Here's my show reel. And then they'll have a listen to that and hopefully get back in touch and say, sure, send us your availability. And then you just send out your availability on a weekly basis. Again, consistency, just like with social media, be consistent, putting it out there. You're not necessarily going to get any work straight away, but at some point or another, somebody might go, oh, I want to give that John guy a try. I want to give him a chance. And then you get that first opportunity, and then you can change your show reel a bit with something real that's being made. And then the next person will come along, and the next person, and that first person will come back to you because they enjoyed working with you. So start building a mailing list of those creatives, those agencies, those local radio services that could potentially use your voice skills, your whatever you want to call it, and just contact them and just find out if they're happy for you to send them your weekly availability and your show reel at the same time. And that way you're kind of opening that communication line. You're not expecting, you're not trying to initially sell. You're just saying, look, I'm a voiceover, I'm fairly local to you as well, maybe, and I'd love to just send you my weekly availability should any jobs have come up that you feel my voice might be suitable for. And that's probably how I would start and how I would look to try and build a relationship. I'd also start going to different events. If you can find events locally, maybe with other radio stations and stuff like that. In the UK, we have different voice actor events that people go to. So go along to those, you meet different producers and just network, just chat, get people to buy into you and the person that you actually are. It's all about relationships, as Mark Silk says. He's often considered going professional as a voiceover. To be honest, Mark, I've heard your voice. I'd stick to your day job. Pause for dramatic and comedic event. What's the word? Comedic effect. There we go. Good job I don't use my voice for my living. But yeah, that's kind of what I would suggest is getting your stuff out there, getting people to have a listen, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you might have a new career in mind. But it does take time. Excuse me, coffee went down the wrong way. It does take time. It's not like tomorrow you'll get a load of voice jobs. You may. I'm not saying you won't, but it's not likely. You just need to keep putting yourself out there, keep building on that mailing list, keep asking more people, and eventually that potential might come out there. There's also other websites you could join. You can join in the UK. There's a website, because I know John's in America. There's a website called voiceovers.co.uk. Maybe have a word with them, see if they've got any space at the moment, because they have limited numbers, and then they might take you on as a new voice on their channel with your show reel. There's also Voice 123, which is an American site, if memory serves me correctly, and that's a subscription one as well. And you can dive in there and you can pitch for jobs and stuff. And that's like an open-ended one, so you can get yourself right in there and start creating stuff and things like that. And as Ed says, voice acting isn't just doing adverts, it's also reading articles for sites like Audible, so you could just read a newspaper or an online article, absolutely, or like revoice a documentary or something. There's all sorts of things you could do. People just want to be able to hear your voice and the different shades that you can put to it. So can you put light and dark shade? Can you be comedic? Can you be serious? All those kind of things. Play on your strengths. Don't try to be funny if you're not a funny person. Don't try to be serious if you're not a serious person. But create content that plays to your voice for your show reel as well. Absolutely, Ed. Good point. Thank you very much for coming up with that one. Okay, right. Next question, because I think we've gone on for a while there. Right. Okay, this is an interesting one. How do I move forward in something that could potentially cross paths with my current employer in my side hustle? Okay, right, hustle. Watch Gary V, do we? Okay, so personally, I mean, this isn't really social media based, but I'll try and answer it anyway. How do I move forward on something that could potentially cross paths with my current employer? I would definitely check first if there is something written into your contract, which most likely there will be, which means you can't be in competition or work for a competitor. Most people's contracts have that written in there at some point or another. So I would definitely check that out, make sure that's not in your contract. If it is, then you're going to have to weigh up the pros and cons of whether you want to stay in that job or not, really. I am not going to sit here and suggest that you leave the job, because I don't know what kind of income you're making from your side hustle. But yeah, you're going to have to be really careful. And yeah, if you can do stuff, then crack on, brilliant. And if you can't, then you're going to have to weigh up those pros and cons and maybe put together a plan in mind, so that when you start pushing further forward on your side hustle, that actually you can just go, thank you ever so much, it's been great, but I'm going to have to step back now because I feel what I'm doing is probably going to be in competition with you, and I don't want to do that while I'm obviously working for you. In fact, just step away completely. And if you've got to also still be careful on that front as well, because some contracts have it written in that you can't work within the same industry for a period of time and stuff like that. But there are legislations against that, but you've got to be really careful. So I would stick your contract in front of like a lawyer or Citizens Advice or something like that, and see if they can help you out. And yeah, fingers crossed. I'm not a legal expert in any stretch of the imagination, and that's probably not really my area of expertise, but I'm glad you asked the question. Anyway, mystery person, because they don't want their name put out there. And that's probably about it. Let's have a look. Any more questions? Nothing on Instagram at the moment. Instagram's been a bit weird. In fact, I'm not sure many people have been told about the live video, because it's still saying it's telling everybody about the live video. But thank you very much for tuning in on all the other channels. Hopefully you've enjoyed it on Twitch, on Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, onto How to Hampshire social media group, and my business page as well. And if you're watching on Instagram, thank you very much for watching on Instagram Live as well. Anyway, right, I'm going to disappear. It's a gloriously sunny day. The lad is asleep. I'm going to go sit on my balcony and eat a Magnum. So I will see you, not sponsored, but I will see you tomorrow, hopefully a little bit earlier than usual, because I'm meant to be doing some filming work tomorrow. It's a little bit up in the air, might have to be moved to next week. But if it is tomorrow, I will be on live, but it will be earlier than usual. But I'll let you know on all my social media channels, so you better go and follow them. Links are in the section below. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a good rest of your day. Take it easy. And thank you very much, Ed. I've enjoyed today's stream. Short one, but actually, yeah, I think there's been a lot of value in there. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.